Hello and welcome to this level 3 video on the systems within. My name is Allie with A. Marie Speaks, and this video is going to be sort of just a quick tie together on the inner system as a whole, your inner system as a whole. Now, the three pieces, mind, body, and spirit, come together to create you. And I talked a lot about that already, and I will link the previous videos just in case anybody is new here and would like to backtrack and go over those videos. I've talked in depth about each one of these worlds and how there's a boss of consciousness and what those bosses sort of oversee. But just to sort of reel it back into why we're talking about this and the systems and how those layers are really three pieces of the whole, which is you or a person or the whole of a system. And the main thing to remember or to understand is that the language of your inner systems, the fuel, the energy, is intentional. And what does that mean? Well, all your systems are fueled by intention, and they all collect an energetic resonance as they do their job. And that collection of polarity, charge, or resonance, whatever you like to kind of understand that collection as, right? That is what reverberates and becomes your presence. It becomes the system as a whole. And based on that presence and that appearance as a whole, based on the polarity, we can tell what kind of work is being done with the system. And what do I mean by that? I mean what type of service intention is happening within the system. Is it service to self in a negative alignment, or is it service to others in a positive alignment? Now, I get a little weary when I talk about these kind of things because I want to present them as honestly as possible, but I also don't want people to just pick it up and run with it, kind of. You know, it's so important to understand that everything is not always as it seems, that appearances and presentation of things can be manipulated. But intention, energetic intention, can never, ever be manipulated. And when we learn, and within our own systems and within our own, beingness of how to hear intention and speak it, and to really listen to our own and hear others, distortions and lies become very obvious to those of us who hear that, because truth has a certain harmonic, can't talk this morning, certain harmonic, beautiful sound. And distortions create obvious ripples that are not comfortable. And you can feel it. And so it doesn't really matter what kind of words they jazz it up with or what kind of actions they try to present to cover up the intentions. We see the lie and we say, oh, there's a lie happening here. Clearly their intentions don't match their actions. And that's all we really need to know, too. That's really where it should end. We shouldn't be making judgments or trying to do introspective work with others to figure out why they are doing those things. It should really just be as cut and dry as, okay, it's a lie. They're lying to themselves. And leave it at that. We shouldn't try to change their minds We just accept that they're living in a lie and choose to not accept it for our own selves. We don't incorporate that information into our own reality. I don't sit there and tell a lie along with them about the thing and put blinders on in my own world to go along with whatever they're saying. My intention is to remain as clear as possible. And so, I will say that working with meditation and working on listening to your systems works wonders for getting a hold of this. Because if you're trying to jump right into that, it doesn't work like that. It's like trying to go to the gym and just pick up huge 100-pound dumbbells, when you've never done a single push-up in your life, and you're, eating trash and heavily overweight or something. You're just not going to be able to do that. Sensing truth works a lot like that. And this is really why we have such a mess in the matrix and why there's such control mechanisms out there. That kind of speaks for itself for most of us, to understand, the intention of their system. It's not freedom. It's not happiness. But anyways, I don't want to get off on the topics of external things. We want to keep it relative to the internal systems and to level 3 here, where we're just learning the ropes within our own world, because how can you look out at external nonsense, all these, real delusions out there, and try to cast judgments or tell what's real or not when you haven't even worked out your muscles yet? You haven't done the work to go to the gym, right? So do the work in your own home first. Do some push-ups for a while at home and some easy sit-ups. Do the little things at home you can do to build that muscle body before you set foot in the gym in front of a bunch of others trying to, lift the dumbbells. Unless, of course, like a positive system would allow for alignment when you would go to a place of learning and go to a place of muscle building like the gym. It would be totally acceptable for people who are new, for people who didn't have muscles, for people who are at level 1 to just come and comfortably, organically come into the system and be allowed, There would be open space for that. There wouldn't be this kind of judgments of all the, gym fear people have. Oh, you've got to be fit to be in there. And oh, if you're overweight, people are looking down on you and stuff like that. That wouldn't even be a thing. We wouldn't even have that sort of mental programming. Those intentions wouldn't be, injected into those systems. Like an atmosphere of that is created on purpose, But we'll get into that more when we talk about external systems and how things can start to play out in the real world later. Just to reel it back in here and talk about our inner systems, right? So, intention fuels all of our inner workings, right? When we step back and we look at our whole being, right, we remember that we are the external service-oriented toroidal. Sorry, the sun is like coming in and out. I hope it's not distracting. When we take it back to our whole being once again, right, we have our external toroidal, service-driven, how we act in the external world, and how we do all of our intentions out there, and how we intend to offer service out. We also have our inner core workings, right? How we intend to serve ourselves, how all of our inner workings inside of our body, our cells, our energetics, our spirit, how all of those layers that I talked about, right, mind, body, and spirit, how they do their work, how they go into their processes. That inner core working is like more negatively aligned. It's in a setting of a negative organic positioning and alignment, because it's your inner core. It's your more female of your whole when we look at the whole, right? And your flow, the transaction, your energy between the two, and how you run your system, that becomes that third portion of you. And when all three of these pieces are doing their thing, when all three of these pieces come together and we zoom out just a bit more, then we can observe polarity. Then we can see charge. Then we see intention at work, right? Then we can observe intention. Because it's like a gauge, and it's not something cut and dry. It's not something determined on one thing even, and it's at the same time as well, it's not ever done collecting. So it's not something where you can do it sequentially and stop, and it meets this certain point, and then it's a whole, and it is an ever-flowing, always happening act of constant balancing. And wherever you're at the moment, a snapshot view of that balancing work is considered to be your charge, your polarity, how all of those systems are working together. Now, when we dive in for level 3, and we're looking at the systems within only, right? We have the same reflection, right, of now we could break it back into the 3 for the inner systems, and I'm not going to go back and sort of retrace steps I've gone over in these last videos with the mind, body, spirit. But we have these 3 workings. And they're all doing their own balancing work of light and shadow work, all within them. Now, how they do that work is your personal inner fuel, your personal energy currency. I'm like searching for better words to kind of describe this, distinctness without using kind of general language, but it's difficult. But all of these systems are fueled by intentions, and the type of intention you're choosing to do the work with. And each boss can oversee and feel and get a sense of the intention of the work that's happening. Each boss sets the stage of the intention for the work underneath them. They set the flow, just like in any corporate setting. Your boss, what kind of boss is bossing, is managing those underneath them, create sort of this atmosphere for the work environment. Whether they are micromanaging and they're really like over the top and they're really detail oriented and strict, or whether they're more laid back and everything is more sort of lackadaisical, and there's not a lot of timeline crunches, there's not a lot of deadlines. Whether, they're an angry person and you feel like you've got to walk on eggshells around them. There's so many different potentialities. And yes, it's sort of, people will look at this and say, okay, this is the human mind, like giving human traits to things and giving personalities and stuff to inner workings that aren't there, and to a cell or organs that can't have that. And to that, I would say that as true as you choose to believe it to be true, just like everything else in this world is as you choose to make it. If you're somebody who needs a lot of scientific evidence and needs a lot of confirmation from external realities to say what you believe is true, that it is what you're seeing, that's really kind of like a chip in your own shoulder that you should really fix your sovereign confidence with, to be able to see your reality for what it is. You are worthy enough to cast judgment on your reality as what it is. You're the only person who's walked in your shoes. But if you are kind of feeling like that, really that all spawns from the initial distortion of hiding from your own truth, that you are the sovereign right of being, that you are a fractal piece of creator consciousness, that you're just as smart and just as right as everybody else here. It's not even about that, but when we distort that from ourselves, we can't stand in our sovereignty, it becomes this inverted distortion called servitude. and we feel like we have to serve something. Something must know better than us, and will always be seeking that which knows better than us to tell us something, to confirm it back to us. And that's the initial liar loop. That's the very first intentional distortion that happens, and where all intentional malalignment comes from. So anytime you feel any kind of intentional malalignment, you can always find the cord back, and you could follow that rope, and you will, and you will, and you will, and it'll come all the way back to that cistern, and you'll be back to that manhole cover that you've initially covered over yourself that says that you're not worthy of eternal life. And for many of us, we sit there for a very long time. We create rock bottoms all around there. It can be a very pitiful, mournful, tomb-y-like place in the heart center in there when we allow that to happen. But that's your intentions. Your soul has a purpose for discovery for that, as mine did, and I learned so many lessons, so many hard things, and I learned so much about my strength by doing that as well. So I can't knock it. I can't tell you not to do it, but I can tell you that if you're there and if that resonates with you and you feel that way, go and have your conversation with your own intentions. Why you choose to feel that way? Because intention is as cut and dry as what you choose to think. It all comes back to choice. It all comes back to sovereign free will. And I was talking a bit about that in my video about an attempt to describe or an attempt to define intention. Because it's such a wide variety of things. It encompasses such an umbrella of things that, it's difficult to describe. And we pigeonhole it a lot, and people just say it's just that, it's just that. They really want to pin it down, force it to be something, control it in that way so that they know all others will see it that way too, and agree with them, and reconfirm their need to be reconfirmed, and that little chip will just sit empty the whole time, But if we just let all of that go, we don't even worry about it, and we say, well, I believe it, I feel it's real, and that's all I need. That's it for me. Then you have unlimited power there. It's an exciting feeling. And when you step into your sovereignty like that, you want others to. You want them to feel the power of intention. And it's the power to choose. It's that simple. I have the choice. And the choice to think in any way I choose to think. And at the end of every moment, there's the choice. And I've made it. That steps me into the next moment and the next one. And when you become conscious of that and you intend to be responsible for yourself, not to be worried to be held accountable for what you've done, because you're transparent and honest in your seeking, and you want your highest good. You don't care about whatever comes, because you're seeking the best for all, for yourself and for the great other, because it's your trip back to God. It's your trip home to oneness. You are the only one who gets to fill that mosaic tile in this beautiful picture. And that's your job right now. And if you just intend and use your intentions on that one to fill your frame as much as you can, to create as much clarity and beauty in your little frame of that whole mosaic, beautiful artwork window, you can never go wrong. You'll never be out of alignment. You'll never be malaligned. And people will honestly know you for you. People will sense that you're real. They will have confidence and trust and love for you. Because we love people who are real. We love things that are honest and feeling good. There's a resonance there, just like I talked about at the very start of this. There's a resonance with truth. And when we align with our intentions and we speak honestly, others sense that. And that goes first. Words don't express that. That's something that's unspeakable and untouchable. You can't create a body language of that. It's a reverberation, cymatic conversation of intention, of your spirit layer body, speaking out, having a conversation with spirit all around it. And when you really choose to like that and embody that and be real with that, you'll see miracles in your life. Spirit from all around, every other spirit will be speaking to you. Not in a seance-y, voodoo, oh my God, dead people way, ghosts kind of thing. No. It's that every created being here of consciousness is a fractal source of God creation from before. And it has bare bone architecture from God, given to it from God, just like you do. And that layer speaks to all other layers. That is intention. That happens with a resonance of frequency. It's nothing that you need to do anything to have a conversation with. And yeah, so I brought it back to attempting to define this, and I'm sorry, but I've done these videos right back to back, and they're intermingling, and they're so important. And just to now refocus and bring it into these systems within. What do I really mean when I say intention fuels your systems? Each boss, right, creates the flavor of their workings within their realities, within all of their systems. And the bosses of your mind, body, and spirit receive their loving intention and as an echo of the reverberation of your higher self and of you as this sort of vibratory whole of the three coming together, right? The main boss of you, the main spirit of you, like this, the main boundary before your higher self and before your other dimensional selves and things. This you sends in intention into those bosses. And if you have underlying sovereign intention of unconditional love for yourself and for all systems and for life in general, it bleeds in. It's a background music, right, to all the working. And I'll bring it back here into my sort of banking model of having, you know, your system being this sort of corporate tiered banking model, right? And the soundtrack, the little MP3 that every branch gets to play their music out, and everybody, you know, at every branch is playing that music, and even in the corporate offices they play it, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's the music, that's the intention that we send down to these three bosses initially. What do you choose to play to yourself? What do you choose to be? Not just playing to all your workers and not for your CEOs to hear, to build, not just them, but also your customers who come in and out, right? The atmosphere that the bank creates as the building, your home, your vessel, your tower. What kind of song are you playing through it for everybody to work in? What kind of atmosphere and intentions are you creating there? And the emotions, the energies are you allowing for yourself? Intention has a lot to do with energetic emotions. It's deeper than emotions, and it's not just, you know, neurons firing and some glands pumping out some like ABC chemicals that like interact and come together and then you feel happy. It's not that simplistic, okay? That's an observation of organic miracles at work. And you can't say that the work defines purpose. There's a purpose for work to happen. It doesn't happen backwards. But that's a whole other issue with science trying to say what's going on here. Well, when we understand there's purpose before work happens, what's the purpose? What's the intentions, right? All that matters. That goes into what kind of work's available for you. And if you're choosing straight away to play doom and gloom music, or you're choosing, you know, instead of to match your harmonics to things like 432 hertz and 528 hertz and to actually understand what those even are. If you're glued on Rockefeller 440 blasting mainstream hip hop or pop music or whatever, yeah, don't be surprised at what kind of customer base and how your employees act within your bank and what your CEOs are doing, stashing money behind the scenes and offshore banking and slush funds and shredding documents, and all the workers know they don't matter and everybody just comes to just collect a paycheck and leave, and all your employees. Do you want to have an atmosphere inside your systems like that? Do you want your heart to feel that every day? I don't want that for me. I've lived in that cage long enough. Instead, be mindful of the music that you're playing, and then your employees like to be at work, and your customers come in and they feel, you know, that's intentions. And also the intention of the work. Do your workers feel respected in there? Do you actually respect your employees? It all comes back to, you know, the intentions of the board and how you've created your bank to run, right? Or, you know, do you actually, is it like one of those staff-owned companies? Is it like a credit union where it's like community-based and funded and everybody's respected as an integral piece, you know? Are your board people, your CEOs and all those people, do they get as much stake in company and as much benefits and kickbacks and all that kind of stuff as managers and workers? You know, the workers deserve as much. They do just as much work, if not maybe more direct work than those boards and those, all of those organizers with the alphabet CEO names, right? Um, when we create a quote unquote bank or business or system where our CEO boss, our hello me, respects down every single cell and knows, can get with consciousness down into a cell in my heart and hug it and say, I love you. You do just as hard, if not harder work in your conscious awareness, your little fractal, tiny little mosaic piece that's you, cell. Your work that you do every day, thank you for your intention. Thank you for your beautiful gift to the whole, which is me. Thank you for your service to great other, which is me, and every other human. And, because your cells, hey, they might flake off and go somewhere else. My piece of hair might fall. My breath goes out and becomes air around us. We are all one in such deeper ways and in such really common sense, logical ways even, that they want us to forget about. But when we get in touch with intention and the spirit speaks through, right, these kind of things just come out. These kind of things make sense, and they speak truth. And you'll feel it for yourself. You'll feel business change in yourself, in your banking model. Your little employees in your all your systems within will feel the intentional shifts, and their atmosphere will change, and they will change their work based on the feelings and intentions that they know they're loved. They know they're fueled by unconditional love. You'll breathe deeper. Your circulatory system will flow more freer. Your eyes will see better. Your hair will grow better. Your skin will be hydrated. Your teeth will be whiter, stronger. Your bones, your muscles will be, more flexible. Literally, the directions come from intention initially, and then the mind's energetics speak, and then they fuel the action through the physical. It all starts back there first, and then it's echoed out. And when you watch that and listen to how it echoes, you can catch distortions within yourself more. And then you say, oh wow, no wonder I've always had stomach problems, because I feel like I have to hold on to things, or, oh, no wonder, like, I always feel short of breath because I'm rushing around. I'm not giving myself even time. I feel like I don't have enough time to even take a deep breath. Slow down in your moment. Remember to deep breathe. Remember that long second to allow the breath to travel through the whole body. I have unlimited time available to me. I am creator consciousness. I make time. These things, things like that, mantras and stuff, it really ties in the intentions. It gets the frequency feeling, and it reverberates through you, and it charges the work. It charges everything. Just like on the mind's level, and in the spiritual level, intention charges the work. How you store and interact with your energy, where it goes within you, how it's passed out through you, how your body language is signaling, how your intentions fire, how your voice and your, all of these things that make you up, that make up your system and your interactions, are all fueled and all get first this initial intentional directions. And if you want changes, if you want shifts, if you want to feel better in your life, you want to break molds, you want to find your higher path, then all you have to do is slow down and listen to those things and find it for yourself. Hear your intentions and align with them. And when your intentions are malaligned, or when you find yourself seeking out negativity for some kind of reason, instead of like castrating yourself or demeaning yourself or talking bad about yourself, or even trying to just skate over it and circle around it, maybe do something to make you feel better so you forget about it. Instead of doing that, just track it back. Follow the anchor for a moment and notice that it's coming back to initial sovereign, a covering of your sovereignty. Where's the choice point at? Obviously, there's something that I feel uncomfortable about, some kind of choice within myself. Go and look at the options. Spread the two contrasts out into a gradient more so you can explore more and see more variety there. See more lessons to be learned, more paths that can be taken than just this and that right now that maybe is making you so uncomfortable that you don't want to look at it, or whatever the case might be. You'll hear what it is for you, and each thing is different. Every time is a different entanglement. Every little rat's nest and knotting is different to pull back and understand. But when you have the intention that you go into it, that you just want to loosen up the whole thing to just free flow it again, you'll find the path of least resistance. You'll find that loose first piece in the knot that will help them all fall apart. If you move with fluid intention, if you move with unconditional love and grace for yourself, giving yourself the time that you need to do those things, right? It's all about intentions. All those systems, all your healing, every interaction even, is fueled by intention. And I'll circle back around to this when we dive into external systems of the self and how we interact with others, and that will be coming up shortly. But for now, I really just want to focus kind of on the internal. Oh, I'm going to get a commercial, sorry. I just wanted to focus on the internal systems and how they're really fueled by intention and what that really means, so that people can kind of dive deeper in there and see what kind of intentions they're doing their systems, their services within their systems, and what kind of intentions you are echoing and feeding down into all of those pieces of you. Because know that the inner systems, when they become aligned, that's when the ripple effect happens and can be cast outwards into external changes. That's when the external world can actually start to reflect and change back, and then things will shift and move in the direct real world outside of you. But you have to do the inner work first, because the inner work is what initiates the outer reflections and the outer changes. I was trying to think of a different word for that, but it's a bit repetitive, but sorry. I'm going to leave it there now. I just have for half an hour. Thank you so much for listening to me, this level 3 class, all about the systems within and how they are fueled by intention. I hope that you found this interesting. If so, feel free to leave comments or replies, or if it's confusing, definitely leave comments or replies. Send me emails anytime. Email's always in the description, and you can always find me directly on my website, amariespeaks.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time.